This is Christine Robinson from the Argus Foundation here with your local government report for the week of April 27th, 2020. According to the school board calendar, the school board is next scheduled to meet on Tuesday, May 5th at 6:30. The Sarasota County Public Hospital Board has a strategic planning session on Wednesday, May 4th at 8 a.m. This is a closed session in accordance with Florida statutes according to their calendar. Their next set of public meetings are on Monday, May 18th at 8 a.m. They have 5 meetings scheduled for that day. The City of Venice is next scheduled to meet tomorrow, Tuesday, April 28th at 9 a.m. Under the consent agenda is an approval to submit an application for federal assistance to the FAA and accept a grant offer to design the extension of Taxiway E at Venice Municipal Airport in the amount of $175,019, and an amendment that increases a work assignment by almost $20,000 for the Capri Isle Bridge, which is a structurally deficient bridge. This amendment is for construction services, including additional shop drawing reviews, requests for information reviews, site visits, and weekly progress meeting attendance. This will bring the work assignment total to just over $334,000. This is being paid for by city road bond funding and also FDOT funding. There is a final reading for an ordinance for an annexation on the City Council agenda. This is for property on the southwest corner of Jacaranda and Border Road. This is for 2 parcels totaling approximately 80 acres. The proposed future development is residential. The financial feasibility analysis shows 203 units with an average taxable value of $350,000. Set for a final reading is an ordinance regarding camping and storage of personal property on public property, which addresses homeless issues. This ordinance will be substantively identical to the county ordinance adopted in 2017. The goal is to have uniformity and remove gaps in ordinances with the cities throughout the county. Finally, under the final reading section is a request for a CDD, or Community Development District, which is a device created by Florida statutes. It is an alternative to municipal government for managing and financing infrastructure required to support development of a community. This will be called the Laurel Road Community Development District and is for just under 300 acres northeast of 75, south of Laurel Road East, and north of Border Road. Under council discussion, there will be an update on COVID-19. Mayor Feinsod also has an item titled Direct Staff to Research and Develop Minimum Standards for External Appearance of Vacant Buildings in Downtown Area. In a 2-paragraph memo from the mayor attached to the agenda, the mayor predicts more empty stores in downtown Venice when we begin to reopen. In the memo he writes, quote, "I would like council to take a proactive step to ensure that our downtown does not deteriorate. In order to avoid the possibility of having downtown take on an appearance of a failing town or an inner city look of boarded up buildings, I believe the city must adopt specific guidelines to ensure visual appearance is maintained to the highest standards possible with a uniform set of standards for empty stores," unquote. Finally, the City of Venice continues to lead the way in addressing financial shortfalls in local government. They will be having a quarterly financial report. Attached to the agenda is a 60-page report. The report is for the first 6 months of the financial year, which began on October 1st of last year, and the report ends on March 31st of this year. Even though it covers financials prior to the bulk of the pandemic, the report does address COVID-19 impacts. Of note is a predicted $200,000 decrease in sales tax revenues. In the first 6 months, the city collected 51% of the expected revenue of the year. This offset will result in an expected negative $32,000 variance from the budgeted amount of $3.5 million. They do expect a grant for one of the capital projects and have a fund balance, so they do not expect to need a bridge loan for this fiscal year. There are no scheduled or canceled advisory board meetings in the City of Venice this week. The City of Sarasota has a City Commission meeting on Monday, May 4th at 1:30 via WebEx. There are only consent agenda items on that agenda for the meeting. We will review those items next week during our government report. There are no scheduled or canceled advisory board meetings in the City of Sarasota for this week. The City of Northport meets on Tuesday, April 28th They have their Road and Drainage District governing body meeting at 4 p.m. On that agenda are contracts, construction, and professional services for the bike lanes on Biscayne Drive for over $834,000, professional engineering services for the Cranberry and Hillsborough Boulevard intersection analysis for $142,000, and a traffic signal maintenance and compensation agreement for several intersections on 41 with FDOT. There will also be a presentation on the design and cost estimate of city center front green drainage improvements. If the plan is approved, construction would occur early next year. Design costs are between $188,000 and $233,000. The Solid Waste and Fire Rescue District meetings are scheduled for 4 p.m., but they are canceled. The City Commission has their regular meeting starting at 6 p.m. on Tuesday. They have 9 items on their consent agenda, including a revised emergency order relating to conduct of public meetings by communications media technology. Pursuant to the governor's executive order, this allows the city to establish a quorum and conduct public meetings. This order lays out procedures, requirements, and ways for public comment. There is an amendment with a software licensing company for a computer-aided dispatch, otherwise known as CAD, vendor switch to Rapid Deploy. Sarasota County is integrating a new CAD system called Rapid Deploy. This amendment is proposed so Northport's records management system properly interacts with the county's Rapid Deploy system. This amends the original agreement and clients' existing product orders to include Rapid Deploy product items. On the consent agenda is also an item on a municipal election agreement with the Sarasota Supervisor of Elections for the City Commission elections for the August 18th primary and November 3rd general elections. Finally, on the consent agenda for the City of Northport is an insurance agreement with Aetna Life Insurance Company for group medical insurance. Under public hearings is an approval of the West Village's Village Pattern Book for approximately 8,000 acres south of 41 and east of River Road. This is the governing framework that guides development in the West Villages and creates standards as to implement the vision. The original was adopted in 2005. This will update it. There is a first reading of an ordinance amending the code on the maintenance of stormwater drainage areas. Back in August of last year, there was a unanimous consensus to have staff bring back a revised ordinance for code enforcement to stop enforcing the 12-inch rule during the rainy season. The commission directed that staff compose a resolution to temporarily suspend enforcement. The ordinance makes some language changes and adds language governing responsibilities of lot owners when swales are saturated with water. The city will be refinancing a transportation improvement assessment bonds. If the resolution is approved, the citizens of Northport will realize approximately $1.57 million service savings over the term of the note. If the city enters into an agreement to convert the taxable interest rate on the 2020 note to its tax-exempt equivalent of 2.3%, the net present debt value service savings will increase to approximately $3 million over the term of the note. On the agenda is a discussion of impact fees, deferrals, and waivers, best practices, and economic fiscal impacts. At Commissioner direction, staff researched the best practices for deferring impact fee payments to existing businesses for purposes of expansion and will be providing options to the City Commission for their consideration. The city manager has placed a discussion item on the agenda titled Discussion and Possible Action Regarding Budgetary Effects of COVID-19. In the city manager's memo, he writes to the commission, quote, "It is always easy to budget when times are good. During challenging times, budgets can be quite overwhelming. The economic effects of COVID-19 not only affect our citizens and our businesses, but will affect the city of Northport too. The financial health of our city is our fiduciary responsibility. Any changes made now to the fiscal year 1920 budget will advance our efforts as we prepare for post-COVID-19 recovery in the upcoming fiscal year 2021 budget cycle. This agenda item was prepared as a springboard to have a proactive conversation with my fellow commissioners and give clear direction to our city manager," unquote. Northport has canceled the advisory board meetings for this week, which include youth council. The Sarasota County Commission has on their calendar as their next meeting being May 5th and 6th. Those could be consolidated at administration's discretion. There are no scheduled or canceled advisory board meetings for Sarasota County this week. That is the Argus Foundation Local Government Report for Monday, May 27th, 2020. Stay tuned to our Facebook and Twitter pages for updates, including posts with the Florida Governor's COVID-19 press conferences. Until our next update, be well.